What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the overall economy moving forward as we have more important economic data coming out for next week, and also big earnings. So I'm going to give you guys a nice preview about what you should be expecting going into next week and how things are looking in my personal opinion. But before I break you down all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks. If you deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 75 of them. And the offer ends very soon in just 4 days. Anyways, now let's break down what's happening to the markets. Looking at Tesla, we have this very, very nice uptrend that's been established, is continuing to push up very nicely. I really, really like this trend that's developing. Now, Tesla did dip a little bit today because of the fact that we had some negative news come out involving a new probe and other pieces of information from these federal investigators. So I want to talk about that just very briefly, then break down what could end up playing out. But I first want to talk about the overall market and some big data coming out for next week. So starting with Monday. Monday's going to be a very quiet day for data, April 29th, 2024. We just have the 3-month and 6-month bill auctions coming out at 11:30 a.m. On Tuesday, April 30th, we have more data coming out. We have the employment cost and benefits report, not to mention the house price index and a couple of other pieces of data, all very, very minor as well. But the data becomes very, very serious starting on Wednesday. On Wednesday, Wednesday is going to be May 1st, not April, May 1st, 2024. That's going to be very important because firstly, we have the JOLTS job openings coming out. The jobs numbers are super important for our economy and the Fed's policies. Then we have more manufacturing numbers at 10 a.m. And then later on, as the day progresses, we have the FOMC meeting, with Jerome Powell giving a very important speech. So the Fed's going to make their rate hike decision, and their economic projections should come out as well. Whatever they say will affect the markets. They're most likely going to give us another skip on any rate hikes, another like pause if you want to go down that route. They're not going to be raising rates again, at least during this meeting, most likely. And then what matters even more at 2:30 p.m. is going to be what Jerome Powell ends up saying. Is Jerome Powell about to cause a big rug pull, or is he about to launch the markets? We'll just have to wait and see. For Thursday, we have very minor data as well. We just have some numbers coming out for exports and imports, some bill auctions, and everything else is kind of minor. And then for Friday, we have the non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate coming out. That's very important data on Friday. Then we have the ISM services PMI. The ISM services new orders is very important for inflationary data, and services prices is very important as well for that sector. So I want to make it very clear and very simple. Wednesday of next week and Friday are very heavy data days. Okay. The rest of the days are kind of minor, but Wednesday and Friday are the heavy data days. Now, for earnings, this is what our earnings calendar is looking like. If you want to take a screenshot of this, you could. If you want to find this, you could just look at the Twitter page of Earnings Whispers. That's one of the best ways to find this. But, anyways, this is what we have going on for the week. So, for Monday, we just have SoFi and Paramount. The earnings are not that crazy. Then we also have Transocean and a few others. For Tuesday, it becomes more serious as we have PayPal and McDonald's and Coca-Cola in the morning. And then after the market closes, we have Amazon, AMD, Supermicro, and Starbucks. Amazon's going to be the biggest one. This is going to likely cause a big move for the QQQ and the tech sector. So get ready for that. And then on top of all of this, I just wanted to mention that for Wednesday, we have Pfizer, not to mention a few others, CVS, and a couple more earnings coming out. And for Thursday, we have Peloton, Moderna in the morning, then Aapl, Coinbase, and DraftKings after the market closes. Now, Aapl is going to be the most important one for that day because Aapl is not only one of the biggest companies on the planet, but it has a very, very big effect on the overall order flow of the market, believe it or not. Not every single day, but on days like earnings when it makes massive moves, this could affect and dictate direction. So just watch for that very carefully. So just to be very clear, guys, Monday is a minor day. We have some earnings. Tuesday is a very important day for earnings since we have like Amazon and PayPal announcing their earnings. Wednesday is a quiet day for earnings, but a very important day for data since we have the FOMC meeting and Jerome Powell giving a speech on Wednesday. Then Thursday, it's going to be a quiet data day, but it's going to be a very important earnings day as we have Apple announcing its earnings. And Friday is another heavy data day as we have the unemployment numbers. So Tuesday through Friday are all going to be crazy days. We have so much either data coming out or big earnings on every single one of those days, and it's going to cause big moves in the market. So expect a roller coaster. The market's going to be crazy. It's going to be wild on Tuesday through Friday. I don't expect too many choppy days during that period. I think we're going to see some high volatility, and we'll see what happens to the market moving forward. That's going to be very, very critical. Now, what else is worth noting is what we're seeing in terms of our data. The fear and greed index is currently getting very close to neutral, but we're still kind of fearful. This is shifting a little bit. Market momentum is currently at neutral. It's also shifting as well. We're currently trying to bounce off this support, so it's still holding up a little bit better than before. The put and call option ratio is dipping to fear. It used to be at extreme fear. The reason why it's shifting is because we're starting to see puts being closed and a big shift in sentiment. People are not as fearful talking about like the big crash as much as before. And right now, they're not necessarily euphoric, but it's more like they're just kind of closing their positions. They're trying to go long. They're hedging. This is what a lot of institutions are doing. They're hedging by buying more shares up, buying some calls as well. And that's what's kind of shifting this ratio down. This is why the market's holding up a lot better. Additionally, we have market volatility at neutral. We're approaching the 50 daily moving average on the VIX. We'll have to see if that holds or not near the 15 level. And besides that, that's what I'm seeing in terms of data and such. One more thing when it comes to Tesla, what's with all this bad news? So just to be clear, basically, there's not a recall on Tesla, and I don't want to use that term because when you kind of think about it, Tesla does not truly have your conventional recalls. They're just fixing a lot of issues with the over-the-air software updates. But in this case, right, Tesla had a quote-unquote recall. This is what the media is referring to it as, and they fixed it by essentially giving us a very, very nice update. But now the NHTSA is coming out and they're trying to kind of open a probe about that, looking at Tesla's updates, whether or not they're sufficient, if they're actually solving problems. And then these federal regulators came out and they're saying that the autopilot has a critical safety gap linked to hundreds of collisions. This is what the news is saying. They were saying that the autopilot system contributed to at least 467 collisions, 13 resulting in fatalities, sadly. And they also mentioned that they did an analysis of 956 crashes where the Tesla autopilot was thought to have been in use. And they're saying that the biggest issue, or at least one of the biggest issues, is the fact that it's led to foreseeable misuse and avoidable crashes. They're saying that it's not sufficiently ensuring driver attention and appropriate use. That's why Elon Musk came out and said that they're changing the name of it to like the supervision instead for the FSD. So, I think it's very important to remember that the FSD is not entirely safe in every single scenario. Sometimes you have to be paying attention just to be safe. And it is, once again, improving every single day. I do believe that Tesla will solve the problem of autonomy in the future, but we're not there yet, and there still are a lot of improvements that have to be made. So my point in bringing all this up is not to kind of like cause fear for anyone. I still have a lot of faith in the company. I'm still very, very confident Tesla's going to be well, at least for the long term. But I just want to make it very, very clear that as far as the market goes, things are not, once again, perfect for Tesla. We have a little bit of negative news coming out. But what is good is the fact that we're still holding support nicely, and there is a lot of potential for this stock still, at least for the short term. So what do I think is going to happen? I'm going to be clear with you. When you zoom out, we're bullish. Tesla's looking very bullish, making higher highs and higher lows, continuing to push higher and higher. And we have this zone right here, this nice liquidity zone, which I think Tesla's going to be approaching. If we break past 175, I think 178 to 180 is coming. So with this happening, we're going to be watching this support at 168. That's going to be very critical to 167.5. If we hold this support, we're going to be bouncing. So I'm going to be looking for a push back up to these higher levels, and we could be pushing to even higher levels to 175 and eventually 178. If we end up losing the support around 165, I do believe we could dip a little bit more, but I'm not really counting on that. I think that Tesla's going to either retest 167.5 to 165 or one of those supports, and we should be bouncing back up, depending on our key fib level and other factors like that. But I think that Tesla has potential from a technical standpoint to either dip a bit more than bounce or even bounce from here and try to eventually make its way up to 175 plus. Now, this also depends on the news, of course, but that's what I think is very probable on this chart. So look for a little bit of a dip coming, another retest of 167.5, if not 165. And then a bounce after that. I think that's very probable. For Nvidia is looking bullish. We're trying to push up higher. We got a nice looking double bottom like structure, and we're trying to push up towards 900. I think that Nvidia could easily get up there because there's been a lot of talk about Nvidia being bullish for the month of May. So that is some good news for them. I think that SPY has potential to dip a little bit as we close below 509. That's some very, very tight resistance. We might dip and retest 507.5. I think that's going to happen. Then we should bounce and eventually try to push back above 509. I think that we could try to push up to fill this imbalance at 512, if not the 514s. So I think SPY has more upside potential. I think that 512 plus is coming. but we might dip first to 507 and then bounce later on, in my personal opinion, as the most likely possibility. It's also going to depend later on what Jerome Powell says on Wednesday, what happens with all the big tech earnings coming out. Those are going to be other factors involving SPY. So we'll see if those end up affecting us. But for now, I think from a technical standpoint, we might dip a bit, then try to bounce as the most likely possibility, a retest of our key EMAs. I think that the QQQ is going to do something similar, considering the fact that we have the 200 EMA as resistance, and we're kind of rejecting here. It might dip a little bit, retest 428 or so, then try to rebound later and try to continue higher to retest 432. And if we break that, we could easily start to push even more. So I'll be watching to see if that ends up happening. Could dip a little bit more and try to bounce. So watch for that. On next up, we have Aapl. Aapl has earnings. Earnings is going to be a big, significant factor to see how this ends up affecting us. I think that Aapl has more upside potential to eventually reach the 172s. I think it will reach them, but it might retest 169 first before it continues higher. So I think that that's the most likely possibility. With that being said, that's it for my analysis for today. I'm just going to go over maybe one or two more. The VIX is still kind of downtrending. We're barely holding 15. If we lose that, there's this gap to fill all the way down at 12.97 to about 13. So I think the VIX has potential to dip more because the market could push higher, causing this to happen. So I still see more upside potential in the market for next week, but we'll have to see if anything changes when it comes to the way the market's moving. Are there any shifts when it comes to the way the market's performing, and anything else that happens depending on all this data. So next week is going to be huge, guys. We have a lot of important data coming out for the markets, especially on Wednesday and Friday, and we have big earnings on Tuesday and Thursday, the really, really big earnings. So every day from Tuesday through Friday is going to be huge with big data or big earnings, and get ready for all of that. With that being said, about this channel, there's one thing I wanted to say. I might not record a video tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure about that. I'm in a place where I think I feel kind of drained. I want to take a little break. But I do guarantee you that I should be back on Sunday. I'll be back on Sunday with my typical videos. I just can't promise a video for Saturday. I can't guarantee that because of how I'm feeling right now. I just have been very, very sleep deprived. I feel like I need a little bit more rest, and I feel a little bit overwhelmed by the amount of videos I've been posting, and with the fact that I'm just very sleep deprived and just going through a lot right now. But it's just my personal opinion. I'm completely fine, guys. There's nothing to worry about. I just need to get some more shut eye. So I'm thinking that I will be back for sure on Sunday. I might not post a video for Saturday. I'm not 100% sure. We'll have to wait and see. If I feel fine, I might just try to do one. And then we'll see how it goes. But with that being said, I just want to give you guys a heads up about that. If I don't post a video for tomorrow, do not panic. Do not worry. I'm going to be completely fine. It's just me trying to take a little break. And I guarantee you I will be back on Sunday. On Sunday, I should be back. And we'll see how things go from there. All right. So I'll see you guys very soon. Possibly tomorrow, but for sure by Sunday. And we'll just take a little break if that's necessary. That's completely fine. It's something that sometimes people need to do if they feel kind of drained. And it's okay. I just want the best for everyone. I'm doing very well health-wise, just a little bit sleep deprived, but I will be back to normal very, very soon. I promise you guys that. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you guys very soon, either on Saturday or Sunday. For sure on Sunday and possibly on Saturday if I'm feeling all right. So we'll see how things go from there. Thank you for listening, guys. Have a great day and peace out.